Okay, we are on the air.
Hey,
Yeah,
how are you?
and I'm not going to do the clap thing because it's just too difficult. Our lips and our sound is going to be out of sync a bit. Life goes on.
Okay, got it. Okay,
Yeah.
something, something to know about. Um, so, you sound a little stuffed up
I
because
do.
you got packing in your nose from a surgery, and
Yeah.
I probably sound very similar because I'm getting over some kind of cold that I picked up on Monday.
Oh, lovely.
Like I woke up Monday with a sore throat. That disappeared by Tuesday, which then got into my nose, just wouldn't stop running. So I have like rolls of toilet paper everywhere and boxes of Kleenex as I'm, trying to stop that tide from flowing.
I'm familiar with that.
And then
Yep.
I got a little bit of a cough. Now I seem to be on the mend, but it was a week of real and just annoying stuff. And Buckley's mixture works great.
Yeah. It's a placebo. Give me a break.
Oh no, you know why Buckley's works?
Because you think it
Buckley's
does.
works because your whole body is afraid to get more of it. So it tastes, how they say it tastes bad, so it because it works or
It
whatever.
works because it
Uh,
tastes bad or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
correct. The reason
Yeah.
is your body goes, don't give us any more of that. We promise we'll behave. That's
It's
so
a it's a
that's
theory.
why I believe it. So placebo or not, that's why. So.
Right. Okay,
All
so
right.
now let's get on with it.
So, I don't know what you got to report. I may have stuff to report. So, who wants to start?
Well, I did manage to get some stuff done. Before I went in and had my nose busted up, I got a little bit of editing in, and then I got some more done over the past few days. So I am on page 198. I don't remember where I was, but it's good progress.
You were. I'm just checking again. You were on page 130,
Whoa!
and you wanted to get 50 pages done. So 98, 130, you did.
Yeah.
68. Good.
Oh, yay!
Good. So
That's the first time I've hit a goal in about 2 months.
68 pages done. I'm gonna write that down as a. There you go. Now we'll have to figure out what your next goal is. So yeah.
I'll shoot for another
Uh,
50, and I mean, I got to get this bloody edit done and start on the dev. You know.
So, and then you got the fix awkward stuff was the other goal. And did you get there?
um, no, no, that's post edit. I did fix some things. Yeah, I think we've said this before. You know, you go through edits and you've got the hard copy, and it says, change these words and change those words, and you look at it and you go, no, I got to change more than that, and you wind up rewriting a bit. I almost killed a darling.
Oh, now you got me.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
there's this one scene, and it's necessary, but it didn't quite fit. I couldn't. There was like a, why is he doing this? And eventually I managed to figure out why he was doing it and keep the scene. But for a while there, it was like, can I just get rid of this and do it a different way? And it's like, all the different ways have the same problem. So, but it was on the verge.
No, I created a darling. Over
Ah,
the course of my editing this week. I just loved one of the sentences I wrote. So I was like, ooh, that better make last copy. So.
excellent. And how'd you do?
I'm obviously also in the editing stage. I didn't write down what chapter I was on last time. I know, uh, I for some reason keep track of words and stuff, like how I've done.
Right.
Um, and so I I now have like this little tracking thing, but you can see how many
Uh huh.
times now because there are. So I think I may have been on chapter 29 last time. I'm now up to 34.
Right.
But 29 I did one edit on. You can see that.
Uh
This is
huh.
29. and it just says how many words were removed. But then on chapter 30, I went 1, 2, 3. I took 4 passes at it because I kept changing enough stuff that I'm like, you know what? I better take another look at it, just to make sure all the stuff that I've added and or subtracted makes sense.
Right.
Then chapter 31, I took 2 passes at, because again, now you're in that part of the story, and you've added things, so now you've got to make sure everything kind of connects to the next chapter. 32 only got 1 go because it was a very brief chapter. 33, I took 2 passes at it, and right now I'm on 34 and realizing that I have to take another pass at it. So I actually had a note, and I don't think I've got it here anymore.
So you're at 4.5 of your 5-chapter goal.
Yeah. So somewhere around here, there's a note that says, apply edits, take another pass at it.
Right.
So I am what I call the post-it note stage of editing, where I am writing things like that. I am now, because I have this pad that sits with me, and I write down new parts of the chapter. But I also thought of something really briefly while I was in the middle of editing, so I ended up having to grab a post-it note, and I think I ripped the other ones up. But here it is. And so ideas have come to me for the next pass. So this one,
Right.
chapter 34, got to get the next pass, but there's some stuff I've got to remember to put into it. So I post-noted.
Right.
So yeah,
Cool.
I'm at that stage of editing where I know I've said I hate editing. I've said it before.
Yep.
But I'm at that exciting stage of editing where you're actually, I think, where I have hit right where I want it to be. Like I have changed enough of the story to give it some meat.
Right.
Like even more
Yep.
meat, and to create the little more tension. And I was like, got it. I've got it. Now it's only taken me 10 years, but I got it. So,
yeah, well.
and the problem is, this is my
Let's not
first
talk
one.
about years.
I've written others, and I think over the course of those writing the other 10 books that I've written, I think I've honed, you'd hope you'd have honed a skill for storytelling, but now here I am in my first one, realizing, here are the holes and the plot things that I just didn't pack in 10 years ago, but now I've got
Right.
them.
Yeah, exactly. And you get, what I like is being able to go back and just foreshadow something, right?
Yeah.
Drop in those little things that I love as a reader, where it's like, oh, that's why they did that. It's
Yeah.
like it keeps you engaged. The story has
Which
some
brings me to my
structure.
to my yellow pad,
Aha.
which has got, remember to do this. Remember
Right.
you have done this. So
Yeah. Yep.
move it forward. It's something that's not going to give it away. Oh, that the one of my characters has like a security team,
Right.
which I added. Right. So now I've got to remember that she has the security team and how they are going to fit into
Right.
the storyline as well. So you don't forget about the security team. Hello, you put it in here. Don't be an idiot. Don't just suddenly give her a security team and then
What?
no security team ever shows up again.
Yeah.
Although
Two other
I think
things.
most of them have shot so far, but anyway.
Two things. One, I need to apologize if somebody hears me sniffling and clearing my throat and stuff.
All right.
I'm under instructions to not blow my nose. So.
Oh God, I couldn't. As I said last week, it was a nightmare, because I'd be sitting here and I'd be like, oh, that's a great, and I'd be reaching for Kleenex and going, I hope I didn't lose. I hope I didn't lose the sentence that I wanted, because I was in the middle.
Yeah. And we have smoke blowing in from forest fires in Quebec, making the air quality go down, which will make me snuffle. So it's going to be great. Yeah.
That might explain some why I've been smelling. Like I do a bunch of stuff outside, and I'm smelling burning stuff, and I'm like,
We're on an air quality warning. Yep.
Oh, great. I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
And the second thing, in terms of progress, I actually wrote a piece of flash fiction last week.
Look at you.
Yeah. It's one
And
of those.
why?
Well, you have these little ideas every once in a while. You go, hey, I could, not quite a story, but there's a thing I could write. And I just happened to have the time and the motivation to sit down and write it. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So, how long was it? Do you know?
It's like 997 words.
Oh, and it wasn't for any kind of contest or.
No. The problem now is I have to find a home for it. Right, I have to wait for some little journal to say, "Here, we're doing flash fiction, science fiction," and then submit it. Right.
Or you could shove it on your website as something to do. So.
Well, then it's published, and then
It's published.
you can't submit it.
Correct. But if you want to get it out there because you're happy with it, which is another option.
I'd be happier with it if somebody published it.
Oh, true enough. I got it. But
I mean, I'm not interested in getting paid per word or any of that kind of stuff. I just want publishing credit. Yeah.
one of my contests got back to me on one of my pieces of flash. I always like the feedback. I get it, but sometimes I don't get it. Then they send you the feedback and they go, "Oh, great story, blah blah blah. I loved this part. I loved that part." And I understand it's supposed to be constructive, and then so it didn't make the top 5 of my grouping, but then they have the critique, right? And a lot of the critique that I usually get is, "Oh, you didn't develop the character enough," or "Oh, you should have expanded on this, or you should have expanded on that." And I'm thinking, do they not know I only have 1,000 words? Do they not know that you can only go so deep, so far with any of that? So,
yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm trying to learn how to critique because I want to get into some of these critique groups. And I think, if you're going to say something like that, you should also say where you think the excess words are. Like, if you could cut back on this and emphasize that, the story would improve, right? But so the least I'll ever do is 500 words. I will not do the microfiction. I am verbose, and I do like to, and those ones are even freakier where they go, "Oh, well, you could have expanded on this," and you're like, in which 50 words did you want me to take out that would have also been a critique because you didn't expand on something else? Right, exactly.
So, and I have another one coming up later this week, another feedback session coming up. So, we'll see if I get the post, "Hey, I'm in the top 5," or "No, I'm not."
There's another thing that I'm trying to do. I've got these subscriptions to various newsletters. Excuse me.
Yep.
And they're all about engineering and sciencey things. And I think one of the things I'd like to do, we'll see if I ever do it, is take one of these news items, like these guys developed this thing or they're planning this thing to do that, and some of them are pretty science fiction-y. Like there's one today, the Chinese are thinking about building towers on the south end of the moon where it's permanently lit and gathering sunlight to develop power, and then laser beaming the power down to devices where it's permanently dark. Which is,
and you're going to write a story on that.
Well, see, that's fodder for story. I mean, you've got laser beams flying around.
Well, so I've done it once, and I want to do it again because I have another idea. But do you remember the Tom Cochrane song "Big League"?
Yes.
I wrote a story on that using that song and the story that he tells in Big League.
Right.
I end up basically, and I guess I have to get his permission to use it, and I know,
right.
touchy a song it is, so I'd be very,
Yeah.
but I base the story on that and how the detective is like, I got nothing better to do, and he's listening to the song, and he's like, I wonder if it's true. And then he goes out and investigates how the whole, and it's actually, I thought it works out. It's a little happier story than he ends up telling it. If anybody knows, Big League, it ends pretty dark.
Yes.
But I, bring it, I bring it around to a kind of a happier story that happens to the kid. So
Cool.
as he does the investigation into what actually happened. So yeah, that's. But as I said, I have a feeling that I'd have to reach out to Mr. Cochran or his estate,
His people.
when I finally do it.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Well.
go, look, here's the story. Here's the book. Would you condone this or condemn it?
Can I have your permission to use it? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's cool. Yeah.
So, setting some goals for next week before we get into our hot topic of the week.
Right.
Topic, I'd say.
And so
Topic.
I'm going to aim for another 30 pages in my edit, and hopefully exceed it by several pages, and then hopefully get
Okay.
the damn thing done, and I can get on to the harder parts.
So another 30 pages. Are we going to just
Yep.
leave that as the goal for the week?
Let's leave it at
Pretty
that.
much it? Okay.
'Cause
I know that I have 50 some odd chapters. I'm on chapter 34. The last time it was 5 chapters edited and get to 90,000 words. I think I'm still hovering around 95 for the most part. Oh, I can actually go look. I would know I was at 99, and I was told that's way too high, but we've already been there. Yeah, I can't seem to pull it up because my writing program has actually gone to their biggest update ever.
Huh.
So Dabble has gone to 3.0, and all week they were releasing these pieces
Huh.
of what they've done, and it actually does look like a massive improvement over what they have, which was a basic writing software. Now they have ways to share it, ways to, when I'm doing editing, it'll now save what I've like what I used to have and what I have now,
Huh.
right? And it'll just continue. So it looks like it's a much more improved.
Cool.
And it'll give you folders so that I can now put my series of books into one folder instead of writing like I do an Elvis book 2, Elvis book. I can now throw it in there. So and I just went over there to look at my numbers, and it says get 3.0 now, and I'm like, no, not doing that. Not the little podcast.
Yeah.
So I used it this morning, and I'm like, nope, not going to do it yet. I'll get it later.
Yeah, and in 6 months, those features will only be $29.95 a month. Yeah.
Well, I'm a lifetime subscriber,
Ah, good.
so I am told that will not change.
Yeah. Cross your fingers exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to say 5 chapters again. I'd like to do more, but as I said, I keep rejiggering the chapter.
Right.
So in theory, yes. Did I do 5 chapters last time? No. But I did like 7 if you consider that I went over chapters 3 or 4 times. So,
I have pages where I've changed one word, and you get in there, and an hour later, I'm happy. It's like, no, changing the word is not going to fix that problem. It's like that whole paragraph and the paragraph after it need to be rewritten properly. Yeah.
I had one where I know I had added a whole bunch of stuff, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna bloat this chapter. But what I didn't realize is all the stuff that I had taken out to put in. Like I thought I was writing a lot, going, oh boy, I've really bloated this chapter up, and it was already a fairly big chapter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh boy, and it turns out I took away 9 words. I guess I just concised down the ideas a little bit better.
Yep.
But as I was taking out paragraphs, I was adding in paragraphs,
exactly.
And I'm like, okay, that's what this is doing. And I don't rewrite a whole book, but I have rewritten whole paragraphs where I go, you know what, that is such an awkward paragraph.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I guess, in the course of doing it, I've lost 9 words from a 3,000 word chapter.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I had one, I didn't like how it was flowing, and so I rearranged some stuff, and then it's like, no, it's that sentence in the middle of this paragraph. It's adding nothing. Just cut that out. Oh, that makes sense. you know?
And sometimes just by rewriting it, even though you're getting the same information out there, but it's just, when you wrote it, it was just awkward to begin with. You just wanted to get the idea
Right.
out
Yep.
of your brain.
Yep.
And now that you can look at it again, you're like, oh, well, I can really concise that idea or change it just to fit with the narrative a little bit better.
Or even just to make it flow properly. Like, I got a bunch of cases where the sentence of the subject is way the hell down near the end of the sentence. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. And I'll sit there, I'll try to tweak it, and then eventually I'll just go, return, rewrite it, and go, yeah, that one's better, delete that one, put the paragraph back together, carry on. But then I've got other places where, it's interesting. You can tell what mood you're in when you go through and mark up your manuscript. Because I've got these things, it's like paragraphs, it says, wordy, question mark. And I'm looking at it and going, no, that's not wordy. It just needs, this needs to move here. And that information is relevant, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I guess I'm in a less brutal mood now than I was when I went through.
I think sometimes I need to be in a brutal mood to get, because otherwise the killing the darlings is not
It's a brutal process. Yeah.
Like this time I know he got in a fight with his girlfriend, and then in the next chapter he's talking to the detective and he says, what's wrong? And they go into this, he goes into the blah, blah, blah. And I just went, no, I don't like that. And I just put a little paragraph. I don't even put the conversation in. It's basically, he gives me some advice, and it was superficial, terrible, and something I could get off of a fortune cookie. So we moved on, so, and I thought that's much better. We don't need to get into every, you've already seen the fight. You already know what's going on. Don't need to rehash it. Let's just, talk about their superficial conversation, as in it was superficial. I got nothing out of it, and we moved on.
Yeah, and unless it somehow gives you another insight into the character, it's not useful.
I don't think it did. It really didn't. Yeah. I had enough that I had to, shoehorn into that chapter about the detective. That it just seemed like, it just didn't. I had to move the story along. I had to keep going with, okay, so this is what's happening. This is what's happening with the case. And then you needed some of his backstory, and to put him with his argument, it just detracted from the whole. That's why now I have to go through the chapter again. And
right.
Go, now, did this work?
Right.
Does it flow better, or have I screwed the whole thing completely?
I did the opposite. Although I only added like 3 lines. I have my 2 main characters are pissed off with each other, and I just had to wrap it up a little bit, hammer home the defect in one of my characters, and the mercurial nature of my other one.
So yeah, it's really interesting that we're both in the editing process and deeply into it. Like, I am not even writing anything at the moment. I'm just totally focused on the editing.
Nice.
I'm not, and whatever I'm writing for the edit. So, because usually I'll start with I'll write something early in the morning, and then I'll get to the editing in the late morning. But now I'm like, no, screw it. We're just gonna dive headfirst into this thing, get it done, so that I don't, because sometimes I'll go, oh, now that I've written, I don't feel like editing, right? So
yeah,
and that's where I'm. So our big hook from last week was hold on, I've got it here.
Finding our style.
Finding your style.
Yep.
Which I think came about based on something you said last week. I'm not even now sure what it was. I don't know if either one of us looked back at what it was.
I
What
went
you
over
said,
it and I couldn't figure out where
where it
it was
was.
triggered. Yeah.
But um, I guess I don't know whether I was talking about the style in which you write, the style in which you tell a story, or the style in which you write. Theoretically, you're a plotter. I'm a pantser, so you know we're those are two different styles completely. I keep expecting my hand to go into your screen. I don't know why. Like when I do that, it's like I can give you a backhand. But uh, you know, I I chose pantser because I just if I plot too much, I know too much, and I can't do that.
Right.
But I also chose the style of mystery thriller because those are the books I like to read. Those are the shows I like to watch. So I decided that that's what I want to write.
Okay.
And when I'm given some flash fiction and some of these contests, and they say write comedy, or write drama, or write science fiction, I my head just almost wants to explode because I'm like, that's not my genre. Um, so it makes you slightly uncomfortable. Now you've just written flash,
Yep.
but you still stayed within your genre.
Within the
You
science
didn't
fiction.
you didn't
Yep.
go
Yep.
out. So you were stuck to a style. And
First,
how did you
so far.
find your style? Why science fiction? What was it that made you want to go there?
So, I have always been interested in the interaction between technology and society, right? From the time I was a kid, my some of my school essays talk about computers and society. so, so that's just sort of been a theme of my life, and as we see with what's with how society is being changed by things like Facebook and the way that these technologies that people like me think, okay, we're going to build this thing and it's going to democratize society and it's going to be this great thing, and then a whole bunch of capitalists come along and go, or we could use it to extract more money from people without any regard to ethics. Right? And so it's how new technologies can affect us. I mean, some science fiction has always been attempts to warn people about what can go wrong, right? And I think what's the line about Handmaid's Tale? It's supposed to be a warning, not a prototype.
Okay, yeah, well,
You
that's
know?
true. When they took it as a prototype, yep.
Exactly. So I guess it's a double-edged sword. But I'm interested in exploring ideas like what happens if we have sentient AI, right? How does that get integrated into society? Like, and we've got these stupid large language model things that some idiots are trying to convince their venture capitalists is on the way to general intelligence, which is wrong, but so there are stories in there, and there's a way to talk about what's going on, right? So that's why I write in that genre. Yeah.
And as you said, you saw an article and you feel that you have another story, or maybe there's a story on these light beams that are going
Right.
to
Yeah.
bring power too. So is that something that you have, like a little book, or um like a I know you don't like Microsoft, but like a Microsoft OneNote. Like I have a document in OneNote that's like, okay, so I have characters, like I have my ransom novels. So I've gone, okay, that would be a great plot for a ransom novel. This would be a great plot for an Elvis novel. This would be a great plot for a standalone novel. But so, do you have like a little book that you say, okay, I like this, or you keep newspaper clippings or
I have
something
a folder.
for your next novel? Is basically what
Well,
I'm getting.
so two answers to that.
As long as we don't all Lindsey Graham tomorrow, that's what I'm just saying. Okay, so go on.
Oh boy. In terms of the like the source material, those newsletters go into a folder, and right now most of them are unread. I don't even want to know what the count is. It's probably like 100 of them in there.
Okay.
Um,
So you do have a file folder of interesting articles.
A folder in my email client.
Yeah.
Then, when I have an actual idea, I use this application called Cherry Tree, which is standalone note taking, and God knows how many notes I've got in there. It's the notepad for my life at this point in time. If there's something that I think is a decent idea, but I don't have any real words for it yet, I'll open up a section in there and tag it. If it's something like this last little piece of flash fiction, where it was just like, well, there's an idea, I should sit down and write it, I just popped open Novel Writer and created a folder and wrote it, and then walked away, and then came back a couple of days later and tweaked it and then walked away. Right. So, but I have this system inside my writing folder. There's a folder that starts with I, and then 2 digits, and then a code for whether or not it's a short story or a novel or I don't know. And under that folder is where the whole thing develops, right? So this book that I'm working on is I06.
Oh, okay.
The folder is I06N, Idea 6 novel.
So that one ended up turning into a novel.
Right. Yeah, that's the novel I'm working on. And then
correct. So what happened to I01 through 5?
Some of them are
off,
dead.
died?
Some of them are dead. But hold on a second here. Let me pop it up.
Because there are times that I just start writing.
Right.
And
yeah.
Now everything in my mind is always going to be a novel unless it's a flash fiction piece that I was told to write.
Right.
And I have abandoned some of my flash fiction, which I like the story, I like where it's going, but because based on the parameters that I've been given in the flash fiction, it doesn't fully fit. And I have a friend who's he's up at 6 a.m, and I'm usually, what do you think of this? Because it's due in 24 hours, and he'll go, not your best work.
Right.
Or, what are the parameters again? And I go, did you not get them from the story? And he's like, nope. So I'll just abandon that story and move on. There was one story I really loved. I loved where it was going, and I could not bring it home. Like the punchline at the end was so stupid. He went, no, you're stretching here. Come on,
right.
Work on something better.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good because he has, I think one of them was supposed to be a comedy story, and he goes, this one's not working. Why don't you just, do 2 detectives that make funny things? And I went, oh, that's not a bad idea. So, yeah. So they quit back and forth, and that turned out to be a better story. But, I've abandoned stories. So obviously you have too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So if I look at mine, Idea 0 is the short story that got published. The one that I've sent to you that you haven't read yet.
I'm so big into editing right now that I haven't even read anything. Like I haven't even read a book. Like I have one by my bedside. But I think I'm always afraid that when I get into like a hardcore editing or a hardcore write, that I don't want to steal other people's ideas.
I assure you, there's no idea in that story you're going to want to steal.
Okay, that's all right. That'll help him.
Yeah.
So that is one of my biggest fears, because I do read a lot of mysteries and thrillers, and I think my biggest fear is to go, oh, that would be a good twist. ah, shit, he's already used it, right? So,
Yeah, it's not whether or not the twist has been used; it's whether or not you write it in a way that's
different.
engaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'll know when you've read that story because the next time we're on a video call like this, you're going to be like,
All right. So I will, you know what? Goals. Read Alan's story. All right. What did
and
you talk about? There we go.
so
And
idea 1 is marked as defunct.
okay.
I don't know what idea 2 is. Ideas 3 and 4 will get merged. They're 3 was the non-genre novel that I want to write, and I because it's not it's more literary, so it doesn't have a real story structure. Like it's not doesn't have genre B points to hit, and I was struggling with it, and that's when I thought, well, maybe I'll write this other one, idea 4, which is sort of the pre-story, and then I realized that no, actually, that's where the story begins, right? So that has to come back into idea 3, and when I'm a much more skilled writer, I'll finish that thing.
Do you feel that? Do you fear that you're going to? Now, granted, you're only on story 1 or novel 1.
Yeah.
Do you fear that you're gonna get typecast and or because some people, I guess I'm gonna back up and try to do this. Some authors, you pick up the book, you read it, and it's their style. You can tell.
Right.
Like I could, one of my favorite authors is Robert B. Parker. I could pick up a novel and you just literally launched right into it. You knew where he was. You know, obviously there's a chapter there where he gives you a little backstory. Just because if you're the first time picking up, you've got to get back into the world.
Right.
But I could pick up a novel and go, yeah, I feel comfortable. This is where I am. I know where I am with Robert's books or with his Spencer novels. I knew that, right? And then he started writing he started writing westerns, and he started writing a cop from a small town, and so he branched out a little bit. But for like his first, 20 novels were just this comfortable little world that I was in.
Right.
Are you worried that you're going to get into that kind of place in your style that everybody's going to know that's Alan Langford?
I'm kind of worried that I'm not.
You're trying to branch out a little bit.
I mean, inside the science fiction genre, I'm kind of worried that I'm not. I mean, I hope that somebody likes my writing and sees my name on another book and goes, okay, I'm going to pick that up based on the fact that I like something else he wrote, and I have an expectation that it's going to be of similar style and quality, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the next book, if he picks that book up and it's completely different, even if it is still in the genre, that's where you lose a fan.
Yeah, you
right?
lose somebody.
If he doesn't like it, right?
I think I mentioned that I picked up a Karen Slaughter book.
Yes,
thinking I
this,
like her style, but the latest book that I wrote, I was like, I don't like it. So now I'm afraid to pick up a Karen Slaughter book because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like it, and I'm going to waste half a book on it.
Yeah, you have to read the reviews.
Well, I do, but I like her style. I've always liked her style, but it was not the characters that she wrote. This was a new one.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I guess I did. I could I go back to the Will Trent books and go, okay, that's better because I'm now more in a familiar world. Sure, but on the other hand, David Baldacci, I love his books, and I'm all over the place. He's got Memory Man. He's got all kinds of different storylines and plots and people that he writes about. but he's got a style that it's a comfortable style. It's an
Right.
easy style. So even if you're reading one book versus another book, and they're completely different characters, completely different worlds, there's a nice, comfort to it. Whereas
Right.
the Karen Slaughter book did not give me that, comfortable feeling. I felt very disjointed, even if I was understanding it was a different world, but I felt disjointed in what she was trying to say.
Right. Well, my hope is that, when I write this story about life in the dot-com boom, which is the ideas 3 and 4, that somebody who's read my science fiction and accidentally picks up this thing that's not science fiction starts to read it and finds an author with the same voice, and that they appreciate that voice to the point where they actually continue through and like the book, even though they've just been suckered into something that's not science fiction. Right?
Well, that sounds very similar to somebody like Jonathan Kellerman, who writes, about a psychologist, and he's a psychologist. And if you go to the back of his book, you can see that he's actually written papers and
Right.
books on psychology that are not fiction,
Right.
but they're there. So that would be very similar
Yeah.
to, and I think that's his early work. And then he, here's his, here's his
Exactly.
his novels, and here's his papers.
I mean, once I have a non-science fiction book, I'll update the back matter in my science fiction books to say, also by me, but there'll be a warning that says, hey, this one's not science fiction. Right?
A warning.
If all you want is science fiction from me, don't buy this book and then give it a 1-star review.
Yeah. And that's it's interesting. So yeah, I guess it's a little early in both of our careers to talk about our style, because do we have one?
Well,
Really?
I think
Yes.
your style will find you, right? Like,
Could be.
I'm not sitting there trying to write in the style of any particular author that I love,
Yeah.
right? I'm not trying to emulate. I mean, I absolutely love William Gibson's writing, and I'm writing cyberpunk, the same genre,
Yeah.
and I would be absolutely thrilled if somebody said, boy, this is like his writing, but I'm
Yeah.
not trying to write like him, right?
So, I ended up, as I said, I went through Pro Writing Aid, and I had them evaluate the book, and that's how I'm doing this edit.
Yeah.
And like one of the, I, as I said, love Robert B. Parker, and this character that I'm editing now, I've kind of written in that style. Or at least in my head, I was writing in that
Right.
kind of easy, fun kind of style of
Right.
that book, of that series, because it is a series. And the nicest compliment that I got from the Pro Writing, and I never told it, was that it says, this book is in the style of blah blah and Robert B. Parker, and I went, holy fuck, it picked it up on that. So I was like, wow, okay, so I nailed that part,
Right.
where I was, in that same kind of feel, same kind of obviously genre, but I was, as they say, I was chuffed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, when I was in a critique group, one of my other writers, said, "Do you know the work of William Gibson? Because this is a lot like it." And I was like, "There's a star on my wall."
Yeah, can you write that down and put it in an email for me so I can have it framed?
Exactly. So it's funny how easily we're flattered.
Correct. And you know what? When somebody recognizes what you're doing, and that it is in a style of somebody you like, then yes. So
Yeah.
I guess over time we'll find our style, so that maybe one day somebody will say, "Hey,
Right.
do you know the work of Alan Langford?
Yeah.
You write in his style."
Yeah, my goal is to just write enough so there is a style.
Yeah,
right?
that's well. I
You know,
said that's probably the we're so early on that we have to find that style before
right.
we
And
can
it's
say we
sort
have
of
one. But
as an aside to that, if you're going to be a successful self-published writer, the one of the main the advice that I see everywhere is write series, right?
yeah,
B- Create your characters, do this, and then write book one, book two, book three, book four, and
yep,
give the first book away for 99 cents or whatever, and then make your money on the 3.99, 4.99, the other series because you've got
yep,
fans who know that there's value in that book and want to read it
in
and
the
want to
next
buy
part
it,
of the line.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm a serious writer, so I have to then rely on style, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, I've got two series of 3 books, and I have another one in the hopper, and I don't know if I have the heart to write the other 2 books. But when I wrote the first one, I was like, yes, there's going to be a 3 and a 4. And
Right.
I just don't know if I've left myself the blueprint to write 2 and 3, because I had it in my head, but sometimes I just don't write it down.
Yeah.
So that'll wrap up, I think, this week.
Yes.
I think there's been some um, great progress, surprisingly. After last month was
The
um,
June doldrums.
the big depression, but now I think we're coming up on the other side, which is good. There's some good goals. I think you got 30 pages. Any other goal you wanted to put in there?
No, not at this point. I'm just
Okay.
I'm playing it by ear until I'm back to 100%.
And then actually, I wrote this hook down 2 weeks ago when
Okay.
we did our last one, because I like the idea of style, but I also like the idea of dealing with timelines,
Oh yeah.
because we've both talked about it, and I think maybe next time we'll talk about dealing with timelines, how we how we work with them.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. You have a
Right.
good week.
You too. Where's to stop it? Ciao.